Good morning, my dear children. I'm back with English literature class. Hope you have revised Act 3, Scene 2 and completed your workbook part. Here I'm going to start with Act 3, Scene 3. In Act 3, Scene 3, you can see Antonio, accompanied by the jailer, comes to meet Shylock who refuses to listen to him. Shylock has made up his mind to exact the penalty written in the bond. Antonio accepts defeat and surrenders himself to fate. Antonio is under the impression that Shylock's reason for revenge is because he has deprived Shylock of interest by helping his clients with loans without interest. So this is what we are going to see in Act 3, Scene 3. Now children, please keep open your books. Act 3, Scene 3. When the scene takes place at Venice, in a street in Venice, and when the scene opens, you can see Shylock, Celerino, Antonio and the jailer entering. Shylock. Jailer, look to him, tell not me of mercy. This is a fool that lent out money gratis. Jailer, look to him. Here, Shylock is asking the jailer to keep Antonio under his charge because the jailer, on the request of Antonio, had brought Antonio out of the jail. So he's asking him to keep him under his charge, to take care of him, to guard him closely, and also says that not to ask him for mercy because Antonio was keeping on asking for mercy, pleading for mercy. So he reminds him of not to ask mercy. Antonio, hear me yet, good Shylock. Antonio is pleading again. Here, Antonio is calling him good Shylock. Why? Because at present, Antonio is in trouble and his life is in the hands of Shylock. Shylock, I will have my bond. Speak not against my bond. I have sworn an oath that I will have my bond. Here, he is very adamant, and again, he's asking Antonio not to ask for mercy. At any cost, he will have his bond. He has taken an oath that he will have his bond. Thou callest me dog before thou hadst a cause. But since I am a dog, beware of my fangs. One warning he gives him, beware of my fangs. Fangs means a sharp teeth, pointed teeth. So he says that without any reason you had called me a dog once. So, since I am a dog, in your eyes, be careful of my teeth. The Duke shall grant me justice. Here Shylock is very sure that the Duke is going to give him justice. That means the Duke cannot stop the course of the law. The Duke cannot stop Shylock from taking the penalty. Though naughty jailer, that thou art so fond to come abroad with him at his request. So here he turned towards the jailer and he got angry at him and asking, you foolish jailer, worthless jailer, you are so foolish that at the request of Antonio you brought him out of the jail, and I am so surprised to see that. Antonio, I pray thee, hear me speak. Once again Antonio is pleading him, please listen to me. Shylock, I love my bond. I will not hear thee speak. I will have my bond, and therefore speak no more. I will not be made a soft and a dull-eyed fool to shake the head, relent and sigh and yield to Christian intercessors. Follow not. I will have no speaking. I will have my bond. So he is so stubborn. He is so sure, and he is just turning a deaf ear to Antonio. He does not like to hear the words of Antonio. He says that at any cost I am going to take my bond, and so don't talk to me, and I am not going to get soft-hearted, and I am not a stupid fool to shake my head and feel sorry for the pleadings of these Christian people. Christian intercessors means the Christian people, those who are pleading to me. So do not follow me, don't come behind me. and I don't want to talk to you. I don't like to have a conversation with you. I will have my bond. At any cost, I want to have my bond. Salerno. It is the most impenetrable cur that ever kept with men. So Salerno gives his opinion about Shylock. Most heartless dog who has ever lived among men. So here, children, you have to remember, once Antonio had called him a dog in Atrialto. So here, Salerno is telling that he is the most heartless dog. Antonio, let him alone. I'll follow him no more with bootless prayers. So Antonio has left him, pleading with Shylock. He felt that it is useless. So he's telling that I'm not going to follow him with both useless prayers. He seeks my life. His reason I know. He knows why Antonio is behind his life. I often delivered from his forfeitures, many that have at times made moan to me. Therefore he hates me. The reason also is telling that often I have rescued from his clutches, from Shylock's clutches, those who could not pay their debts, and many times have appealed for me for help. So at Rialto, so many people used to appeal to Antonio to help them to come out from the clutches of Shylock, because Shylock used to take a lot of interest from the people when he used to lend out money. So those people were helped by Antonio, and Shylock like that he lost his business. So he hates me. Salerno, I am sure the Duke will never grant this forfeiture to Hone. Salerno feels that, and he is almost sure that Duke will not allow such a penalty to take place. Antonio, the Duke cannot deny the course of law. So Antonio knows the law of Venice. He says that Duke cannot stop it or deny the course of law. For the commodity that strangers have with us in Venice, if it be denied, will much impede the justice of the state. So he is giving the reason also, children. This part is quite important. Here he says that if the rights are denied, it will do harm to the justice of our state, because the trade and business of Venice are depending on foreigners, much on foreigners. So if it be denied, will much impede the justice of the state, since that the trade and the profit of the city consisteth of all nations. That means mainly the business of Venice is depending on foreigners. Therefore go, these griefs and losses have so baited me that I shall hardly spare a pound of flesh tomorrow to my bloody creditor. So he says that you may go, you can go. Now no need to plead to Shylock. The tensions and losses have so affected me that tomorrow my bloodthirsty creditor, that is Shylock, is not going to get even a pound of flesh from my body. So children, this is a sort of exaggeration. How can it be like that? Not even a single pound of flesh on the body of a person. So it is a type of exaggeration, hyperbole. Before also I have told you about it. I had explained you that. Well, jailer, on. Pray God, Bassanio come to see me, pay his debt, and then I care not. So he has got only one wish, that before his death, Bassanio should come and meet him. And after that he will not care anything. Bassanio should see that. For Bassanio, he is giving his life. He is paying his debt by giving his life. Then he will not worry for that, worry for anything. Then he goes away from there. So children, please read this part, then go to the workbook. So when you take the workbook, Act-3, Scene-3. Characterization is quite important. Antonio, the noble merchant. So children, such adjectives, highlight such adjectives which will make you, it will be easier for you when during the exams. is presented as a complete contrast to the careless Jew. While Shylock is adamant to follow the bond, Antonio repeatedly pleads for mercy. Shylock feels elated. Elated means he feels very happy on seeing the melancholic, helpless Antonio. So what is the condition of Antonio in this scene? He is melancholic and he is helpless at the mercy. The wicked Jew. So how is Jew here? Wicked. So whenever you write the answers, children, you are supposed to write as many adjectives as possible. So follow that. And the wicked Jew is obsessed with the bond of a pound of flesh, and no pleas will change his mind. Shylock's repeated use of the word bond indicates his desire for revenge. That is why he becomes deaf to any pleading and says, I will have my bond. In stark contrast to Shylock's fiery outburst, Antonio is quiet. Antonio seems to have accepted his inevitable fate. He is just waiting to meet his friend before he takes his last breath. Antonio says, he seeks my life. This shows that he has passively accepted his fate. He accepted his fate. Whatever is going to happen, let it happen. He doesn't mind. Then, this increases our dramatic anticipation of what lies ahead. Moreover, Antonio himself knows that the Venetian state can do nothing to save him, as in trade and commerce with other countries depend on strict enforcement of his laws. Critical comments. Preparation for the trial scene. The scene shows that Antonio's end is near. He will have no escape and will be tried in a court of law. Thus, the audience is prepared for the great trial scene. The scene also serves to fill in the time gap between Bassanio's leaving Belmont in the previous scene and his arrival in Venice. The scene also focuses on the bond of friendship between Antonio and Bassanio. It's a strong emotions of friendship which makes Antonio resign passively to the inevitable fate for the sake of his friend Bassanio, and makes Bassanio leave the love for his life, Portia, to come to Venice to save his friend. So here, this is a workbook part, and here I want to give you some extra questions which you can try yourself after reading the workbook. So here, children, see this, the questions. Understanding what you have read, that is only after reading the reader and workbook thoroughly you will be able to answer this. Why is the jailer with Antonio? When is Antonio to be penalized for not returning Shylock's money? According to Shylock, what naughty thing has the Jew done? What is Shylock so angry? What is Shylock so angry about? Then, what reason does Antonio give for Shylock's hatred of him? Reading between the lines. That is for characterization. Such questions are very useful. Are you surprised at the stubborn attitude of Shylock? Give reason for your answer. Earlier we have seen that Antonio insulting Shylock repeatedly. What's your impression of Antonio in this scene? Does he come across as the same person? How can you tell that Antonio is highly respected by the people around him? Here again some more questions. Do you think that Shylock is seeking revenge from Antonio, or is it the case of a Jew seeking revenge on Christians? Then, look closely at Antonio's tone of speech. Antonio's tone of speech and Shylock's habit of repetition, and cite examples of each. So these are some of the extra questions, and children, please do it only after reading your reader and workbook thoroughly. Thank you. Have a nice day.